Today, we are going to be doing the no gun challenge in the solo victory cup. Now, going into this challenge, I didn't have really any game plan. My only idea was I was going to land at this building all the way on the northwest side of the map. Because, well, I figured nobody would be going there since there's literally nothing over here. But we'll see later on that I was very wrong. But for this first game, that's where I decided to go. So after looting this little building here, I ended up finding myself 6 EMPs to defend myself and a couple of heals. But as I went to go loot the other part of this area, I saw that there was a kid here. Bruh. So I had to completely change what I was doing. So I started to head over in this direction. And soon enough, this happened.
Let's go, baby, our first point.
Now, I spent a little bit more time looting up in zone, and eventually, when I was done looting, I had a pretty decent loadout. Luckily for me, my cash wasn't even taken yet, so I was able to get that as well, and these slurp juices are extremely important. Now, fast forwarding a little bit closer towards endgame, I end up getting this zone pull, and it wouldn't be all that bad, but there's one problem. I do not have a rocket ram. So I gotta do this rotate on foot. And once I saw other people rocketing, I made my break for it. But unfortunately, I ended up taking some damage, so I had to use my last slurp in my inventory. But it ended up being a blessing in disguise because as I started to rotate again, I saw that there was a rocket ram from a dead body right in front of me. So I took my opportunity to get it. And now with this ram, we're looking pretty good to do well in this game. So it's time for my first endgame without any guns.
Bruh. I'm playing zone here. Sickness already, bro. What? That's so unlucky, bro.
So unfortunately, I ended up going down, only getting a 6th place, but that still put us at 17 points, which is on pace to qualify, which is going to be around 63 points. So keep that in mind. So after a mediocre first game, let's hop into the second one. I was feeling confident nobody was going to land here, but I was very wrong. There ended up being someone that was trying to land there, and obviously I can't do anything off spawn except try to pickaxe them. So I decided to swerve over here. And luckily for me, nobody landed on me. But the only problem was that I literally had no loot. And after going to a couple more houses, I still had no loot. And in this area, there were so many different people around me that I decided my best option was to sit in a bush and wait for zone to get on me. So I posted up and was chilling until this happened.
Hopefully this time is a little bit different.
Shh. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Fortunately, he didn't go through the bush and didn't see me. And after a little while longer, I ended up hearing some people fighting near me.
Yeah, there's like a fight going on somewhere over here. Might be extra loot for me to grab.
Eventually, zone finally got on me, and I went over towards that fight to see if there's anything left.
Nice, huge. That 300 IQ brain.
And after that, I finally made my way towards zone and ended up getting my cash. But from here, I started getting max zone pulls, and I was getting fried whenever I was trying to rotate. So eventually, I was in zone, but I had pretty much nothing. But thankfully, the Fortnite gods were looking over me, and I rotated early towards this box, and I ended up getting juiced from it.
Oh my god, huge find.
Now, we were looking good, but let me just speedrun this endgame real quick. So I ended up seeing a refresh, I ended up going for it, and then I got stuck between a mountain and a guy with a heavy. Long story short, I ended up going down in 8th place.
Bruh.
Still not the worst game, but we need better games than that if we want to safely qualify. Game 3 is where I would do just that, having an insane game. Once again, I tried going up to this northwest spot, and I saw there was a couple people possibly contesting me. However, I ended up alphaing it up because obviously I'm just a goat. And luckily, I ended up getting a rocket ram directly off spawn, so I didn't have to go searching for one. And this was the first game I was able to loot without having any interruptions. So after taking a little bit of zone, this is what my loadout looked like. The one unfortunate thing about this game though was I wasn't able to get my slurps. However, it doesn't really matter since we're pretty stacked. So let's skip right in towards the end game. Now this end game ended up being really stacked for an opens. And when I got this zone, I knew the rotate was going to be tough, but I just had the full send it. And luckily I was able to get in without taking any damage. But it was here when I saw that there was an enemy getting focused by another player, so I decided, well, why not throw all my C4 on this guy? And well, this ended up happening.
Let's go. My kill, baby.
So after getting my first kill and a really good refresh, I was looking the best I have going into this end game. So let's see how I do. There's no way I got a second there. That's huge, man. So after that insane game, we only needed a few more points to qualify, and I had around 40 minutes left. So things were looking really good. And quick play real quick, all of this was streamed on my Twitch at eastfn_. So if you guys want to see me do more challenges live, come swing by. Link in the description and the comments. So going into the fourth game, I ended up dropping at the same spot, but this time I was contested and wasn't able to actually outdrop them. So I ended up swerving over towards these rocks, got a couple of chests, then sat in a bush and waited for the other player to leave. But eventually, after doing a bunch of fishing, I ended up having some really good loot. So going a little bit forward into the game, we're in a really good spot in zone. On top of that, we just got 63 points, which meant we finally qualified. But then I ended up doing a very stupid thing. Nice. Yeah, I don't know why I rocketed there. I ended up dying, but it was fine because we still had another game to play out. So going into this last game, if I did pretty well, I could actually get a really good placement. And once again, dropping it off spawn, it did not work out how I was hoping. Once again, somebody was landing here, so I had to swerve. But unlike last time, my loot was pretty good, but I still decided to sit in a bush and wait for zone to get on me just so I can max out that placement. And this game, I was finally able to get my cash again. Now once again, skipping later towards the end of the game, I ended up seeing a possible kill I could get, so I tried to use all my C4. Unfortunately though, I wasn't able to actually get that kill. So this means I have no C4, plus I had to use a slurp earlier on in my rotates. Then I ended up getting a max zone pull, but as I was rotating in towards the end, I ended up getting fried by a mythic AR. And long story short, I ended up getting keyed and died, getting in 9th place that game. But overall in the opens, I ended up getting top 2000, which I think is pretty good. But now it was time to see if I can do the impossible and make money in the finals. And trust me, you're going to want to stick around to see what happens. Now, since my original drop didn't really work out, I decided to switch it up and land to this north side part of the map. However, I was not expecting the amount of people to be over here. But I was still able to get a decent amount of loot, but most importantly, I got a rocket ram. And then afterwards, I decided to once again just sit in the bush. So once the zone popped, it pulled pretty far, so I thought it was safe to go back towards this temple area and try to get some loot. And since zone was very far away and didn't have much time until it started moving, I figured nobody would be over here, but... Luckily for me though, that guy was very bad and didn't even try fighting me. I still have no idea why he was even sitting there in the first place. But I continued to loot and actually ended up getting my cash for free. But eventually I made my way all the way to Eclipse Estate. Then I got once again another max pulling zone. And this rotate was going to be pretty rough since this game was very stacked and I had a bunch of people near me. But I just had to send it.
Please don't be cringe. I love it.
So during that rotate, I ended up having to use 3 bigs, and my mats were already looking really bad, so we were at a very rough spot for this game. But then I saw this.
I'm gonna make a play that could make or ruin my game.
Now, after getting that refresh and rotating into zone, we were now looking extremely well to do good in this game. So let's get into our first endgame of the finals.
Let's go.
So somehow we ended up getting a second place, which was actually my best placement in a finals for this. Also, do not ask me what noise came out of my mouth, because I don't even know. And by the way, whoever that guy was who won, well, you're welcome. I just gave you the freest win of your life. And after that insane game, I thought there was no way I could do better. But trust me, you guys are gonna want to watch to the end. Now, the second game of the finals was a weird one, to say the least. I ended up going back to my original drop. There was too many kids there. I swerved, sat in a bush, literally had nothing, tank zone, finally had some decent loot, made it all the way to the end game, was looking good, then died like this. What in the fuck was that? Feels bad, but we have the final game where things get absolutely wild. So this time when dropping in, I actually had no idea where I was gonna go, so I just randomly dropped out of the bus. And thankfully, I saw that Rumble Ruins was uncontested. I ended up getting some pretty decent loot and then found this little hiding spot that was actually pretty broken now that I think about it. After sitting there for a very long time, I ended up running back towards the edge of zone to try to look for extra metal from cash boxes, since that was pretty much the only thing I was missing out on. But unfortunately, I was literally able to find zero. But I still had everything else I needed, and after some very, very lucky zone pulls, we were finally heading into the end game. So in the very last game of this challenge, it was time to see if I could pull off the impossible. Somehow managed to pull off a 5th place, and if I actually hit that guy on height, I could have possibly won, which is crazy. But if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Check out my Twitch. I'm going to be live doing these challenges weekly. And comment down other challenges you might want me to do in the future. And I hope you guys all have an amazing rest of your days. Peace out.